Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming today for this celebration. And we have two goals today. Well, yeah, come on up. We have two goals. We are going to celebrate Michael, and we're going to try not to cry while we speak or sing. Okay. Uh-oh, I see a departure. Oh, okay. Well, talk amongst yourselves for a moment. It seems they've forgotten something in the car. Okay, Christ has abated. All right now? Okay, we're good to go. It is our tradition in Unitarian Universalism to light the chalice, which is the chosen symbol of our faith, as a sign that we are gathered together and that something special is about to happen. Today, I'd like to invite Paula and the boys up to light our chalice while I share a reading. Just a very short one. Michael had a fondness for Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. So we'll light our chalice with these words. Love is the only way to grasp another human being in the innermost core of his personality. No one can become fully aware of the very essence of another human unless he loves him. By his love, he is enabled to see the essential traits and features in the beloved person. Welcome.
Hello again, friends. Dad is glad you're here. Welcome. We're glad you're here, and he loved us all. He was so engaged in his life, and after even, that he gets credit for the quotes you're seeing and the songs you've been hearing, chosen by him for this very day. That's how involved and thoughtful he was in life. Some of you knew him as Mike or Mickey or Michael. For me here today, he is Michael Chulada. Not the first, that was his father. Not the last, that was me. But the strongest loving bridge between the present and the past. Like in the song you'll hear that he wrote, and I grew up hearing him sing, the more I got to know him, the more I know it's true. My life was so much better for having a dad like you. All of our lives, have been made better by having him in it. Thousands upon thousands of people's lives through his work with Planned Parenthood. Hundreds through his love and support and performance of music. And so many of us for being such a loving father and committed friend. He took Planned Parenthood and parenthood so seriously and to heart that as a child in Utah, I would hear the old VW bus struggle up our hill on Morningside Drive under Mount Olympus. Dad coming home for dinner and to put us to bed, only to find out quite recently that he would return afterwards to work and finish work for the day. Such a champion for women's reproductive rights and access to health care while still working so hard at parenthood. Let me get a sip of water, please. He was a hero and a leader to so many, whether they knew it or not. The type of leader that let everyone shine, that valued team over person, which is why his love of basketball as a player, coach, and fan was that way. He fell in love with the Golden State Warriors for that very reason, because it was the most beautiful and joyful and team-centric he'd ever seen the game played, the game he loved. And we would talk on the phone after every game. He was a leader and a boss, but he always had his boss, Paula, Mom. Went to college together. Before they dated, my mom was actually his boss. She was the house manager at her sorority while he was the houseboy, so always the boss. And we can't talk about Michael Chulada without talking about music. He had a lifelong passion for music as a listener and a performer, and he passed that passion along to my brother and I. A couple of little short stories about our connection with music, how important it was to him and to me. In 1998, when I was 15, our family were lucky enough to have dinner with Graham Nash and his family from Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Unknowingly, they joined us through some family friends, and his children had a Rubik's Cube, not the square one, but there was another one that came out after that made shapes, and one of his children made a shape of a house, and Graham Nash grabbed it and started singing Our House. And my dad and I, we just looked at each other and went, oh my God. And of course, like a child and like the teenager I was probably in the car on the way there, ugh, Dad, not again. And Dad and I looking at each other like, no, please, yes, again, just sing it. So beautiful. And another memory that was very strong for me and kind of spoke to his connection to music and being as a friend, music being as a friend to him as well as just being such a beautiful piece of beautiful art. He asked me one weekend when I was 17 if I would like to go to Tahoe to visit some friends with him. And I said, sure. We went up and had checked into a hotel, had dinner, walked into Caesar's Tahoe and handed me a ticket. And it said the Moody Blues on it. And he said, these are my friends. It was so wonderful to share that friendship with him through music. Dad was thoughtful and kind and loving. He had a consistency of character that I feel anyone who knew him for any slice of time really knew who he was. Because I knew him wholly, because he lived his life honestly and truthfully and genuinely and surely and with an unwavering moral compass. So to mention Michael Chulada, the joyful, funny, kind, and loving friend, father, and leader, and teammate in life, I say we miss you dearly. We love you wholly, as you did us. And thank you for making our lives so much better. Thank you for being you. And I will say, along his journey in life, he picked up stones and shells along the way, and I brought some here for you to take a part of his moments with you. So over by the letters on the left as you walk out, there's a couple of bowls. Please feel free to take a shell or a stone that he gathered along his way. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here with us today. 2023 was a rough year, to be sure, the very roughest to date. At the beginning of the year, I had been living in a beautiful house in the Santa Cruz Mountains owned by my friends David and Vicky. That is until David died suddenly in February, and as a result, Vicki had to sell the house, prompting for me a move to Carmel Valley soon after. This was my first experience losing someone that close and would be the first of 4 for the year. My folks came to visit in June when I got settled. During the visit, Dad had something serious to communicate, which was that he felt he had 2 to 6 years left to live. It was a difficult thing to hear, but I realized later that it was actually a gift, in that the realization of the reality of his eventual passing served as a kind of pre-grieving experience, maybe releasing some pressure and cushioning the blow of the real thing that would transpire much more quickly than Dad had anticipated. I considered this a gift, but 2 to 6 years, more like 2 to 6 months. This would be the last time I saw him, except for the few days before he passed. A couple of months into summer, I lost another friend, Jesse. A couple of more months later, my Uncle Eddie passes. Ed was Dad's sister's husband and the patriarch of our East Coast family. The last time I spoke with Dad using words was on the phone before him and Mom flew back to Massachusetts for Eddie's funeral service at the end of November. I remember feeling suddenly apprehensive at the idea of him traveling, but kept it to myself, knowing that there isn't a world I can imagine where he wouldn't make every effort to support family in this way. Soon after landing and before Ed's service, Dad suffered a brain bleed and was taken to the ICU at Mass General in Boston. When I saw Mom was calling, I sensed something was up. Then after a brief heartbreaker of a conversation and some words from the doctor in charge of his care, everything changed forever. Got a little mixed up here, excuse me. Michael and I flew out soon after and were lucky enough to have one important day with him while he could still engage with us. He couldn't speak, but there was much eye contact and hand-holding, along with some nonverbal, yet in moments crystal clear communications. He could hear us, and we played him his favorite music, of which he clearly enjoyed, judging from as much as he was able to tap his foot to the beat. I know I can speak for Mom and my brother when I say I'm definitely grateful to have had these last special moments with Dad. The next morning, he was taken off of life support and moved to a hospice care facility in Lincoln, a town close to Littleton, where he was born and raised, and still where the largest swath of our greater family lives in or nearby. While in hospice, Dad was then totally incommunicative. We spent the first long night in the room with him. The following day, of all the days that it could have been, was Mom's birthday. Towards evening, exhausted, we decided it best to go back to my aunt's house in Littleton to rest, having no clue as to the duration of this thing. At 5:45 the next morning, he passed away. Thankfully not on Mom's birthday, can you imagine? We drove back up to Lincoln to see him one last time. We spent the next week at my aunt's in the already loaded atmosphere of grieving happening there. The whole situation was surreal. Mom and my aunt both lost their husbands. Michael and I lost our father. Our cousins who we would visit with all lost their dad, as well as their favorite Uncle Mickey. It was much like being installed in a turducken of grief. Thanks for the laugh, I appreciate it. That's my one joke I left in, I'd spare you the rest. If there's any silver lining to this thing, it's in the excellent and seamless care he received, and in that the situation didn't drag out for months or years. For that, we are so grateful. Honestly, it felt like Dad was in control of the situation the whole time, despite his role in it. It seemed as if he waited to pass until after Mom's birthday and knew not to hang on for long after that. I consider that another gift. It truly was the best case scenario inside of a worst case scenario. I didn't know Uncle Mickey, Mike, or even Michael Charles Chulada. I just knew Dad. I've learned more about who he was and what he did in the last few months than I'd ever known before. While going through his personal and professional letters and papers, I've learned about a top-tier human being who lived purposely and to serve others. Through reading letters from colleagues and Dad's own autobiographical essays and mission statements, I get an even more comprehensive picture of the man. An organizational genius, a natural-born leader, ever effective, practical, and resourceful, and respected and well-admired by many for his charisma and for his character. He formed many lasting friendships through his work as well. Through letters and cards from friends and family, I get to see him as the favorite uncle, the little brother, the lifelong friend from childhood. As his son, everyone should be so lucky to have had such a loving and supportive father. I didn't realize how lucky until leaving for college and meeting others my age who were raised outside of the Davis bubble, the majority of which were the product of broken homes or indifferent parenting. The difference is palpable, and I understood then that my experience being raised was most certainly the exception rather than the rule. We are all behind the driver's seat of our own ancestor bus. Sitting behind us are all the previous drivers whose lifelong shifts have ended. The number of former drivers is incomprehensible, stretching far back into antiquity. There is no back end to this bus. In the rearview mirror, we see maybe a few or more rows of familiar faces looking back, then just silhouettes of endless relatives. They're there to support your driving and to continue looking out the windows at what is now your world. I know now that Dad is on the first seat behind me and will be there for the duration of my time behind the wheel. This gives me much strength and encouragement I need for the rest of my life's journey. I love you so much, Dad, and you'll be greatly missed by your grateful and loving family. May you rest in peace. Now I'm going to read for you a letter from our East Coast cousins, Maureen, Kathy, and Jimmy, which was sent to us a couple days ago. Our family has lost a great man, an irreplaceable piece in our family tree. Uncle Mickey's absence will leave a void in our lives, yet we take solace in the memories he left behind. We wanted to share a few of our favorite memories of Uncle Mickey. It was the 20th of July, 1969. We were just young kids, but can still remember this day so clearly. Our mom and dad had a large going-away cookout as Uncle Mickey and Aunt Paula were leaving to go teach in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. It was a special day indeed, as we remember the excitement of a family gathering at our home, and then it was announced over the radio that Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin had just walked on the moon. So whenever we looked up at the moon after that day, in a strange way, we always felt some connection to them. After they left for Africa, we would correspond with them by mail and would be so excited to get replies and hear of their African stories, and especially the one of them being chased by a rhinoceros. We also have special memories of our entire family, including aunts, uncles, cousins, and our grandparents camping each summer in the mountains at Eastern Slopes in North Conway, New Hampshire. Sitting around the campfire, we would hear his beautiful voice and his guitar, and to this very day, if we hear the song Mr. Bojangles, it takes us right back in time to that special place surrounded by so much love. One special talent that impressed us and made us laugh, which we will never forget, is whenever we asked Uncle Mickey a question, he would look at us so serious and then break out in a song for his answer. We always loved that. We also loved when our mom would tell us Uncle Mickey and Aunt Paula were flying out to visit us. Our mom would be so excited knowing her little brother was coming, and we enjoyed every moment when they visited. We just wish there would have been many more visits, but we will always treasure the times and the memories we made. Thank you, Uncle Mickey, for the memories, the laughter, all your stories, and most importantly, your unwavering love. You will be missed so much, but you will continue to live on in our hearts, forever cherished and forever loved. We know you are with our dad now in the kingdom of heaven. Rest in peace until that beautiful day we meet again. Your spirit, your love, and your light will forever shine bright in our hearts.
For those of you who didn't know Michael well, I think you've gotten just a flavor of what his life was like, of how amazing he was. And even though we touched on it only briefly, I want to make sure you grasp the extent of his professional experience and the influence that he had in this community and around the nation. In addition to serving as a Planned Parenthood activist, he was responsible for training at more than 100 affiliate locations for Planned Parenthood, supported the Planned Parenthood Federation, and something that really intrigued me is just this list of organizations that he supported and worked with. Sutter Hospital's Planning Commission, Yolo County Health Council, Citizens Who Care, Yolo County Child Sexual Abuse Treatment Center, Yolo County Community Care Continuum, and the Yolo County Library. Can you imagine, just for a moment, how many lives he touched? How many people he helped? That is the mark of a wonderful and amazing person. And he had a connection to this congregation, to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Davis. And we are forever grateful. One of his colleagues wrote a letter. This is from Dr. Stewart, who is the medical director at the Planned Parenthood of Sacramento Valley. And this was written on the occasion of Michael's retirement back in 1994. And it's called On Considering Michael Leaving. And you'll recall that he was Mickey to his family and friends in Littleton, Mike to his college friends, and social friends into adulthood, and Michael professionally. So as you hear this, keep that in mind. On considering Michael leaving, guitar and singing in stairways, people gathered around, eyes fondly gazing at him, mesmerized by his sound and daring to be so happy in public. Leading people is familiar song, creating joy, laughter, warmth, and fun. Jokes, inner group, and hangers on. It was the best of times. It was the way things should be. Who is this man? I asked. From Utah, someone said. Tell me another story. But it was true, and further, he came to Sacramento. He was competent. What a joy. We could now get on with our work, and work we did, and patients we served. Awarded as the best exec in PPFA. So what? We knew that. Nicest and kindest person that I have ever met, and he was here in Sacramento. I will remember Michael as a driven, caring, bold, cautious, loyal, kind, wise, process-oriented, rebel, father, husband, warm, supportive, understanding, ethical, religious, irreverent, smart, student, teacher, leader, team member, follower, pleasant, conscientious, carefree, singer, guitar player, speaker, listener, and friend. I have real tears as I write this. I cannot imagine his leaving. Above all, I know things do not stay the same. But no, Michael, what will I do? What will we do? Ready for the song?
Some of you might recognize this instrument. This was Dad's guitar that he played for everyone we've been talking about and all the situations, and it is truly a magical instrument, and Dad lives in this guitar from now on. He just curls up in the middle there. So I've become its caretaker, and we're going to perform a song Dad wrote called Hello Again, Friends.
It seems like years, but that's not true. You know I just can't forget the last time that we met. Hello again, friend. Nice to see you again. But times change and people change, but some things still remain. I'm still the me that you first knew, and to me you seem the same. And the more I know about you, the more I know it's true. My life is so much better for having friends like you. Yesterday's gone, tomorrow's yet to be. Today and now is our reality. So let the time we have be what it will be. Hello again, friends. Nice to be with you again. But times change and people change. The world moves in different ways. Your realities and fantasies are rarely just the same. The best that I could wish for is all your dreams come true. That your fantasies and realities become the same for each of you. I know you'll be leaving, and after you're gone, a part of you remains with me, and I'll leave you with the song. And the next time that I see you, I know just what I'll do. I'll sing this song, it's special just for you. Hello again, friends. How long has it been? It feels like years, but that's not true. And you know I just can't forget the last time that we met. Hello again, friends. Nice to be with you again.
Starry, starry night, paint your palette blue and gray. Look out on a summer's day with eyes that know the darkness in my soul. Shadows on the hills, sketch the trees and the daffodils, catch the breeze and the winter chills in colors on the snowy linen land. Now I understand what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now. Starry, starry night, flaming flowers that brightly blaze, swirling clouds in violet haze, reflect in Vincent's eyes of china blue, colors changing hue. Morning fields of amber grain, weathered faces lined in pain, are soothed beneath the artist's loving hand. Now I understand what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now, for they could not love you, but still your love was true. And when no hope was left inside on that starry, starry night, you took your life as lovers often do. But I could have told you, Vincent, this world was never meant for one as beautiful as you. Starry, starry night, portraits hung in empty halls, frameless heads on nameless walls, with eyes that watch the world and can't forget, like the strangers that you've met, the ragged men in ragged clothes, the silver thorn, a bloody rose, lie crushed and broken on the virgin snow. Now I think I know what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they're not listening still. Perhaps they never will.
In my mind, I'm gone to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine? And ain't it just like a friend of mine to hit me from behind? Yes, I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. Karen, she's a silver sun. You best walk her away and watch it shining. Watch her watch the morning come. A silver tear appearing now. I'm crying, ain't I? Gone to Carolina in my mind. There ain't no doubt in no one's mind that love's the finest thing around. Dark and silent late last night, I think I might have heard the highway calling. Geese in flight and dogs that bite. The signs that might be omens say I'm going, I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. With a holy host of others standing around me, still I'm on the dark side of the moon. And it seems like it goes on like this forever. You must forgive me if I'm up and gone to Carolina in my mind. In my mind, I'm gone to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine? Ain't it just like a friend of mine to hit me from behind? Yes, I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. Gone to Carolina in my mind. And I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. Gone to Carolina in my mind. Gone, I'm gone.
Helplessly hoping her harlequin hovers nearby, awaiting a word, gasping at glimpses of gentle true spirit. He runs, wishing he could fly, only to trip at the sound of goodbye. Wordlessly watching, he waits by the window and wonders at the empty place inside. Heartlessly helping himself to her bad dreams, he worries, did he hear a goodbye? Or even hello? They are one person, they are two alone, they are three together, they are for each other. Stand by the stairway, you'll see something certain to tell you. Confusion has its cost. Love isn't lying, it's loose in a lady who lingers, saying she is lost and choking on hello. They are one person, they are two alone, they are three together, they are for each other.
Starry, starry night.
want to do some songs that Mike sang lead on for you. And it's very fitting that we have Frank here because we all met at the Davis Art Center, and I see some folks who were there with us singing, and there are other folks here when Frank taught doo-wop. Dr. Doo-wop is his other name, by the way. Doo-wop at the Davis Art Center, and that's where we met, and that's where we started our group, yes. Mike was definitely a driving force in our group. He was our record keeper, our financial manager, our equipment manager, and he was our getter of gigs. Because the rest of us might not ever perform in public if it hadn't been for Mike, but he wanted to perform. So he went out all over Yolo County and rustled up gigs, and over the 12 or so years that we sang together, we sang in, first started at open mag nights, and then we were in wineries and nonprofits and private parties and assisted living, you name it, we were there. So without Mike, we certainly miss all those things that he did for us. But even more, we will miss his big, big heart, the twinkle in his eye, and the joy of making music with him. So Mike, these songs are for you.
His beautiful voice.
And his voice was like that.
Mike suffered the torture of being in my classes for many years. Back in the 80s, when I first started doing it at Experimental College, he was one of my first students there. And then I stopped doing it for a while and came back to doing it later on, around 2000. And there he popped up again. There he was. He was very, very persistent. You just never know what's lurking in your classroom. I mean, to kind of take the class, you just never really get to know them that well because, you bet you feel it when we touch as we walk hand in hand together. We will vow to be together always. So in love are we two, and we just said I do. So in love, so much in love. You and I, so in love, so much in love. You and I, so in love, so in love, so much in love. All right, this is a song from this is not from my hometown, but it's across the Manhattan, Bronx, North, Brooklyn, whatever. Dion and the Belmonts made this famous, and we're gonna do it.
No, I love you like I do. No, I do. Don't know why I love you. Don't know why I care. I just want your love to share.
Say, I wonder why I love you like I do. Is it because I think you love me too? I wonder why I love you like I do, like I do. I told my friends that we would never part. They've often said that you would break my heart. I wonder why I think that we will part. We will part.
No, I do. This was one of our favorite songs that Mike sang. It's about a World War II soldier longing for home. It was first done by the Mills Brothers in 1944, and then it was updated by the Classics in 1963. You'll probably recognize it.
And Michael would always tell so much beautiful stuff about this story before we'd
Till then, my daughter, please wait for me. Till then, no matter when it will be, someday I'll know I'll be back again. Please wait till then. Our dreams will live though we are apart. Our love will keep it deep in our hearts. Till then, when all the world will be free, please wait for me. Although there are oceans we must cross and mountains that we must climb, I know every game must have a loss. So pray that our loss is nothing but time. Till then, let's dream of what there will be. Till then, we'll call on each memory. Till then, when I will hold you again, please wait till then. Although there are oceans we must cross, mountains that we must climb, I know every game must have its loss. So pray that our loss is nothing but time. Till then, let's dream of what there will be. Till then, we'll call on each memory. Till then, when I will hold you again, please wait till Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was an honor. It was a pleasure.
Finally, we just have one more song for you. Mike and Earl dubbed the three of us the Harmony Girls, and this was a song that Mike loved to hear us sing, so we're gonna sing it for you.
Yeah, I just don't, yeah, I can't figure it out if you write that.
Dum, 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 dum,
I'd like to share with you a letter from Mike's secretary. I'm sorry, from D. Armstrong Lerner, who could not be here today and knew Mike for a very long time. So, and now it's my turn to see if I can get through this without crying, because this is sweet. Dear friends and family of Mike and Paula, I'm so sorry that I can't be with you all today, but I want to contribute to thoughts of Mike and his memorable life. When we were small children, Mike's dad frequently visited with my parents and brought young Mickey along. I was 4 and he was 5. This is how we began our friendship. As we went through school, Mike became a very good basketball player, excelling in our senior years of high school. We all supported and cheered them on in some very exciting moments of excellent basketball. During the college years, we went separate ways until graduation brought us all back to Littleton. Mike brought Paula to meet us. We enjoyed sharing our mutual engagement time and early years of marriage, visiting with them many times in their antique home built in 1687 in Bolton, Massachusetts. Mike's family had memorable camping trips to New Hampshire, and we were happy to be included. We enjoyed the great family camaraderie of cooking, playing games, and singing along at the campfire. His wonderful family of parents, sisters, and their families, and Paula's and my younger brother were all included. Mike and Paula were then accepted into a teaching position in the American school in Ethiopia for a couple of years. When they returned, Mike accepted the position with Planned Parenthood that designed his future. We followed Mike and Paula, and now young Michael and Brett, as he advanced with Planned Parenthood from Eugene, Oregon to Salt Lake City, and then to Sacramento, Davis. During these years, we skied together, traveled some, and enjoyed many wine country adventures. Yet the many fireside chats were the best of all. Mike was a great planner. When we would visit, he would always have our meals planned, our restaurants chosen, and our winery tours reserved. My favorite recent memory is one of our last visits to Davis. When we arrived, he suggested we put our things down and jump in the car. He'd made a beautiful picnic and made plans for us to go to the local Matchbook Winery for an afternoon of visiting, enjoying his homemade lunch, and admiring the beautiful California weather and scenery. It is a truly lovely memory and one of the many of Mike that fills our hearts. As we remember Mike, we hold Paula, Michael, and Brett in our hearts, both today and always. With much love to all, D. Armstrong Lerner. Now you may be wondering, what was it about that letter that brought her to tears? It's the memory of a life, of a shared existence. When we think about how our lives progress, we think about our childhood, and yeah, there are people you know, and maybe you lose touch with them. Maybe you see them you knew them in high school, and you knew them in college, and then you lost touch. But to hear a story of a relationship that continues throughout your life is truly amazing. As I looked at the photographs, I thought, oh, they tell such a beautiful story of someone who was, by most accounts, by what I saw, very happy, very loving, very loyal, a heck of a good musician and songwriter, and a generous spirit. It's for these reasons that I love being invited to be part of memorial services, because I get to know so much about people. And often I think, oh, I wish I'd known them. And today was one of those days where I was the one with the tears thinking, I wish I had known him. Because he sounds like a truly amazing man. So I am envious of you all who knew Michael well. Grateful to you all for allowing me to be a part of your celebration of his life. And I invite each of you now to hold your glass up, your imaginary glass, while we do an imaginary toast of A&W cream soda or your favorite wine. Cheers to Michael. Now it's your turn. It's your turn. As you've been sitting here today, no doubt memories and stories have been flooding your mind. And there will be lots of opportunities to tell stories. In fact, I hope you will continue to share memories and stories with Michael and Paula and Brett, because they will need you. They will need your love and your companionship and your kindness. But for now, we invite you to come forward to share a story or a memory. If you have one, you can come here to the microphone, or if mobility is an issue, just raise your hand and I can bring you a handheld microphone. Thank you.
I'm not even going to pretend to not cry. I met Michael in the 80s. I was 24 years old or thereabouts, living in Sacramento. And I was then working in women's health at Planned Parenthood of Sacramento Valley. When Michael came in as our new executive director, I was hired as his staff assistant. Michael taught me so much during the couple years that I worked with him. He was a mentor, he was a teacher, he was an inspiration, he was a catalyst. Michael had a deep passion for the cause of protecting women's reproductive freedom. And with that passion, he brought, yes, a zest and an excitement and a vision. He encouraged and supported the same vision and commitment from me and his staff and his board and everyone he met. Michael showed me the profound art of presence, of listening deeply. I would come away from meeting with him feeling seen, feeling heard, feeling valued. He was encouraging and would help me see my abilities even when I couldn't quite, and then he would stretch them. And he had my back when I wanted support. I want to say I have such a vivid memory of walking, like down the halls at the Planned Parenthood agency, and Michael coming up, and I knew him as Michael, and me having something about, the board minutes or something, and saying, I need some help with it. What do you think? And he'd say, come on into the office. And he would turn on his heel and he bustled. There's no other word for it. He had an energy that was just, and a presence and a verve. He was a catalyst. He brought together diverse groups of people to work together, and his excitement about the cause, the vision, it was contagious. And he was grounded amidst conflict, listening with clarity. He taught me about radical generosity. That giving one's time, energy, and resources to a cause you believe in is an exquisite and joyful gift. It is a joy. He showed me that in giving together, you get to be part of the magic of coming together to make something so much bigger than the individual parts. I think about Michael and the ripples of his work professionally as a trainer and facilitator of boards and nonprofits. And I think about the ripples in my life. As I was, preparing for today, this image came up, and I don't expect you can see it, but it's a hand with dirt. And it says, "The day you plant the seed is not the day you eat the fruit." I think Michael planted so many seeds and also provided so much fruit. I was pregnant with my first child when I was working with Michael in the second year. And I like to think that some of her in utero experience of my working with Michael kind of osmosed during that time and was reinforced by what he gave me, and has helped support her love of working with nonprofits, listening, catalyzing. Yeah, it certainly did for me. I am grateful for the deep gifts Michael gave to me and to so many. I am grateful that I reconnected in later years with Paula when our family moved to Davis, and I got to be on the board at Citizens Who Care and work as a volunteer and bring my kids to convalescent hospitals and reconnect with the Chuladas. I loved hearing Michael sing in his a cappella group, Zest, and what a perfect name. May the ripples, the seeds, and the fruit continue, and may the circle be unbroken.
Hi, I'm Mike Vitello. I got to know Michael through my wife, Erie, one of the Zest members, and I want to share three thoughts. Two mostly about Michael, and then one maybe something that we can all learn from today and what we heard today. The first, I think of Michael, and so many of you spoke today in ways that can convince me how right I was, a life lived with grace and humility. Over the years, we would do some things with Michael and Paula, and I have lots of friends who will tell you all of their accomplishments, and they'll tell you all at once, and you're slightly overwhelmed. Michael was the complete opposite. The details came out slowly. He was never the center of attention. You'd hear about his experience in Africa, and then the work he did in Planned Parenthood. At times, risky work, but he was living the life. He was doing good work. I'm an academic. I look at things from 30,000 feet. Mike was doing the good work on the ground, something I truly admired him. But again, it was this experience of knowing him and realizing what an extraordinary life, a life well lived with grace and humility. The second thing, it's something that Erie said, I loved when they would come over and rehearse at our place. He had a special affection for a particular wine that I had made, and it was always gracious in his remarks. I thought he was overvaluing it, but I think that might be typical Michael. And so when I think about it, I think Erie said, but she stole my line, the twinkle in his eye. And here I think of two things, two really special things. One, the joy with which he lived his life, but also at the same time bringing so much joy into other people's lives. I'm not musical, but I loved having the Zest group singing, entertaining. And so my third point is this. Why the hell didn't I tell Mike any of this when he was alive? So here we are celebrating a life, and all of us have really positive memories about Mike. And so I challenge all of us, including myself, going forth to tell people the things you deeply care about them, and not to leave it until we talk to one another after his death. Thank you.
Well, hello. My name is Jay Cohen. I'm in a leadership position at Planned Parenthood Marmonte, which is your local Planned Parenthood and the biggest affiliate in the United States, with 800 employees and 35 health centers from northern Nevada through central California. Greg Cook, where are you? Greg?
Yep. I'm awake. I promise I'm awake.
I am in debt to you for the gift you've given me in the last 24 hours of making us aware of today and having me come. And I have to tell you, the last 24 hours have been an overwhelming emotional ride that I didn't expect, and I'm grateful for having. I haven't been processing Michael's death since December because until 24 hours ago, I didn't know him. And I'm feeling profoundly sad and angry that I didn't have that chance that all of you had. And the Reverend, I have written comments, but I'm doing something different. The word you used of envious is envy times a million, that this extraordinary man wasn't part of my life. What I do for a living and what meant most to him in life, beyond his extraordinary children and his wife. Planned Parenthood, the mission, the songs that were chosen today, the Viktor Frankl, like all of a sudden, I feel like I lost a best friend that I never knew. And we would have had so much in common. And you know, the phrase standing on the shoulder of giants, I've always liked that phrase, and it's part of an REM song that I like, but it's never had particular relevance necessarily to me. Today, I am standing on the shoulders of a giant. He is a revered individual in Planned Parenthood, but for me personally, joining 5 years ago and not having dialogue with our national office, I didn't understand who he was and what he accomplished. But I will tell you, I'm not a religious person, but in the spirituality of where we are and the unknown, I was definitely chosen to be here today. And I'll tell you why. Greg contacted us yesterday. Our CEO, Stacy Cross, loves Greg and has known him for decades. She didn't know about today. So she is up in Reno, Nevada, for a board meeting, and more importantly, for the ribbon cutting of a new Northern Nevada health center for Planned Parenthood. And I got a text from her yesterday saying, "You're not going to Reno. You're going to talk at a memorial service for me." because I can't be there. It's a board meeting and a ribbon cutting with Senator Mastos, and I looked at this text and I'm like, what are you talking about? I was in charge of raising that money for that center. That's my event. So my emotions were like, what are you talking about? And she said, I'll call you later. And 5 minutes into that call, I realized this was infinitely more important than what we were doing. But in talking with Greg yesterday, which was an extraordinary call and an emotional call, the connection was made. That center and another center that I'm raising money for that will be closer to the Utah border, that is for individuals. I'm going to lose it. That is for individuals from Idaho, but especially from Salt Lake City, that are being denied service or are about to really go dark and be denied service. And then Greg tells me that Michael is the CEO of Planned Parenthood in Salt Lake City. And that's what this whole project has been about. And that's what I've been doing for the last 2 years. And now I'm standing here. Coincidence? I don't think so. His term of service with Planned Parenthood for decades in 3 different states, and then a national, a very prominent national role as the first director of the Leadership Institute, providing the tools and the training for the next generation and current leaders nationwide is extraordinary. It's unparalleled, and I have to tell you, you don't work at Planned Parenthood for the money and the retirement. You don't work like he did for decades because it's a job where you have your 9 to 5 and go home and turn your brain off and don't have to think about work till you wake up the next day. It's a 24/7 situation. You don't do the service that he did because you think people are going to admire you, like you're a doctor or a lawyer or whatever we value in our culture. Yeah, there's going to be people that think it's great that you do that. You also have people that hate your guts and would like to kill you, and they don't even know you. And you live with that. And I'm sure there are threats that you know about, and I'm sure there's threats you don't know about, because why, right? Why worry you? So dedicating his life to our mission is very selfless. It's a passion. And to have that extraordinary career, some people achieve it, very few. And then some people achieve a normal job and somehow find the time and have the wisdom to raise extraordinary kids. There's very few people that accomplish both of those things. And as a father of a teen, I don't think I don't think there's any greater dream or meaning in life than having your 2 sons show up at a memorial and say the things that you said about your dad. So the universe gave you quite a gift in your dad. Just to put a little meat on the bones when people keep saying the Reverend and what is your name? Elizabeth. We just met and instantly bonded. She worked at Planned Parenthood, we're a family. Just to put a little meat on the bones about, it's great to serve Planned Parenthood and everything he did. You bring it down to the ground, not the 500-foot level or the 1,000-foot level. There There are countless teenagers that did not hang themselves in their own closet because of Michael. There are teens that were not bullied, beaten, thrown out of their own homes by their own parents to become homeless because of Michael. There are thousands that did not become sterile, die, be humiliated, or pass on sexually transmitted diseases because of Michael. I am definitely standing on the shoulders of a giant, and his legacy is more than anybody can anticipate or understand because of the lives that were affected or saved. 1 out of every 4 women in the United States has received some kind of service from Planned Parenthood. And so the thousands and thousands of lives that he affected in ways we can't even begin to contemplate, that is a profound legacy. And I'll just close with one other thing. As I said, I'm not religious, but I was raised Jewish, and we have a word called mensch, which some of you might know, some might not, but for me, it's overused. It's an extraordinary word. It's to describe an extraordinary human being who's not only selfless, but it's the closest thing I could say is it's that man or woman that at 4 a.m. you call and they drive 100 miles to help you, no matter what's going on in their life. There's not even a question. It's that person you can count on. It's that person who, when you tell them a secret, it's a secret forever. They don't go to the next person and go, okay, this is a secret, so don't tell anybody. I mean, it's real. And their life is about making other people shine and lifting other people up. And I just don't use that word. Maybe 2 people in my life have said it about. Obviously, Michael was a mensch, and seems to have raised 2 mensches. I mean, I'll ask other people's opinion about you, but from what I've seen, he has. And so, just with all my heart, on behalf of Planned Parenthood, we can't thank him enough for what he has done, and you, as the Reverend said, are incredibly lucky to have had him in your life, and what a life well lived. And as this gentleman said, let's all tell everybody we know in our lives what we think of them and how much we love them. So thank you. Thank you. Yeah, my pleasure.
My husband groaned, sorry. Greg and I moved here in the early 80s. I was a little over 20 at the time. And the first people we met became our dearest friends. And that was Mike and Paula. I just wanted to share we didn't know him to work with him. We just knew him as a friend. He always had time to listen to you. He always gave you 100% of him. He always did anything you needed because that's who he was. The only adjective I did not hear today that I would like to add to his exhaustive list of wonderful traits. He was the most gentle human being I've ever known. Very gentle. And for those people who do believe in Jesus, I just have to say he was probably the most Jesus-like person I have ever known in my life. He did everything the way a person should do things. So in my life, I have lost a few very close friends and family, mostly family. But I have learned over time that you never ever lose anyone, because those people who are really important to you, like Mike Chulada, live in your heart. So all of us take him with us wherever we go, and he'll never be gone.
Thank you all for sharing so many wonderful memories. And I'll remind you that after we finish, the family will be out in the social hall. You'll be invited to share more stories and a glass of wine and some refreshments. It is our practice at the end of our gatherings to extinguish this flame. And those of you who are members of this congregation or have seen me before know that I don't like to extinguish the chalice at memorial services. For that very reason that was just mentioned, that the person who is not with us remains with us. We don't extinguish the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. We don't extinguish the flames of the heart or the flame of love. Instead, we leave it burning in our hearts, always. So my prayer for each of you is that the flame that represents the life of Michael will burn brightly in your hearts, will burn brightly in your memory, and that you will carry the feeling that you have today that only those of us in this room have experienced, that you will carry that with you today, tomorrow, and all the days to come. May it be so. I ask that you allow Paula and Michael and Brent to leave first, after which you're all welcome to join them in the social hall for refreshments on their behalf. Thank you all so much for participating today.